It's the Wandering Channel, and thanks to the guys who made the Noclip documentary on Fallout 76, I have pieced together all these behind the scenes in-game footage. That's a tongue twister. A lot of concept art they took video of, and videos of the developers still in the game editor itself, messing around, testing various things, checking the detail that they have in-game, seeing if there's any clipping probably. Because we're at the end stage right now of Fallout 76. Like, the last little bit is when they start playing the game and working out the kinks and playing it amongst themselves and trying to figure out things. Like, they told a bunch of people in the office to be, the griefers. The guys that destroy your, your settlement or jump in front of you when you're shooting at something. They had guys whose job it was to be those types of people so they could preemptively prepare against it. Such as they added a feature just like GTA 5. It's the passive mode, in GTA 5, your bullets can't harm anybody, nobody can harm you, they can't kill you. Kind of just makes it to where you can play the game for yourself without having to worry about people, because we get GTA, a lot of people in GTA kill you on sight if they're not just driving around. If they're not having a good time, they're killing you on sight. That's my rule for GTA. But they added a passive mode in Fallout 76 that is similar to it. You can still be killed by the enemy, by a hostile player, but what it does, sorry about that, that was probably really hissy. What it does is it makes your bullets not do any damage to anybody except in-game monsters and in-game characters. Nobody, if they have a control in their hand, they won't be hurt by your bullets. And, they shoot you, you shoot them, that's how you initiate a fight in this game. It's like Todd said in the QuakeCon panel, it's like a slap in the face with a glove, at a bar. If you get slapped, it's annoying. And if you slap them back, then, that's an invitation. Hey, let's fight. But with this passive mode on, it won't harm anybody. But you can still get, slapped to death with that little bit of damage they take off, because you're not actively fighting each other. And then the whole wanted system comes into play, and I can make a whole different video on that topic just alone. The negating effects of implicating a wanted system and compared to other games. But alright, here I have this video is around 12 minutes of nothing but Fallout 76 in-game footage from the Noclip documentary. You got super mutants. Those little robots earlier were called liberators, so it's some sort of attack. Chinese sent robots to the mainland for some reason. I'm not sure if the lore says why in it, but because I haven't read it. And this is the new faction that Bethesda developed to eliminate raiders because of the time after the nuclear war. There's nobody alive in West Virginia. This game only takes place 25 years after the bombs drop. So not a lot of people have came out. We're one of the first people out of the vault, 25 years later. So not a lot of people came in to be raiders and all that. So the Scorched was Bethesda's way of implicating other NPC type threats other than robots and animals, is feral ghouls that can still shoot guns. But a lot of this this was just pretty much probably a big experiment for them. I mean, they had to hire a whole bunch of MMO guys to come in and help, and they were in the Noclip documentary. They were talking about how originally they tried retrofitting the Quake engine or parts of the Quake engine into Fallout 4 to turn it into multiplayer, because they had been thinking about that for a while, and it just just didn't work right. They didn't have the people or something, I don't quite remember, and it got put on hold until whatever. You'd have to watch the video. It explains it a whole lot better than I do. It's 40 minutes long, and 12 of these minutes are Fallout 76 gameplay. But that's a close-up view of the Greenbrier. I'm pretty sure that was a Greenbrier. And they're talking about the dynamic lighting and shading they have. How the new engine can hold 16 times as much what's it called, detail, so they can add a whole lot more trees, leaves, particles, sun rays. You know, as you, like Todd said, you can see distant weather storms off in the distance because of the 16 times more detail. The draw range is just crazy. So you can see these giant, you know, rad storms or rainstorms or whatever. I'm pretty sure there's a ash storm I think I saw somewhere during one of the snippets of them editing the weather. But you can look out and see that and then plan your journey or your attack on someone or something accordingly to that. So it's a survival game, but it's a tactical yet easygoing survival game is what I'm going to put it down to so far. Such as, you know, tactical, you know, you're doing that whole looking at the clouds and you're figuring out how you can do your strike the most and the most effective. And there's sleep and I'm not sure about sleep actually, but I know there's hunger and thirst in there, and there's diseases just like in Skyrim. How Skyrim had ataxia, bone break fever, and rock joint you can get by being attacked by various animals. I did a video on perk cards recently, and it talks about, there's a perk card in there that reduces your chance of catching a disease by animals by 60%. So the fact they have a card for, I don't know if it was a upgraded card or not, but they have a card to where it's 60%. Diseases are probably going to be a big factor in this game, just like carry weight, because most of the strength cards are, well, most that I can see so far that have been shown are things like reduce weight of ammo, weapons, make you stronger, stuff like that, like stuff that you typically associate with strength. And charisma is big if you have groups in this game, a group of 2, 3, you know, anybody really. If you're in a squad with friends and you're playing, charisma is a big thing. You can bring that up to you can bring it up to a nice level, and then share. There's a card that shares mutations with other people. The positive effects, 25% stronger, stuff like that. You know, you can share some of the mutations, or you can share your other cards with your group members to make them more powerful, or something along those lines. So charisma is really big for. There's a couple of charisma cards for people who play solo. Chris mentioned that in the QuakeCon panel the other day. Here is a little bit of the building. I could probably make a whole separate video on building as well. But you know, it looks basically the same, but with a, you know, facelift. They moved it's not the selection with the categories is no longer on the bottom, it's on the top now. And instead of, you know, you click A, you hit A, and you scroll through the different couches or, you know, beds or whatever, it's over there on the left hand side now, the stuff you can build. And there's perks. If you go back and watch, when he puts the medicine vendor down, if it's in that clip, he needs a perk, the first rank of medic, to be able to place it down, just like how in Fallout 4 you need a local leader to be able to place stores. You needed the second rank to be able to place, you know, merchants and stuff in your settlement. There it is. There's the vault. You see it's kind of like a pill shape with the door rolls out to the side. So if they hold, from what it looked like when you were walking out of the vault, it looked like that pill shape was. You can see the inside of it. So if you can go back, if it's accurate to that concept art, then you can probably see a little bit more detail depending on what's in the picture. And Todd and Chris and all of them were talking about the different biomes, I'm going to use for lack of a better word, in Fallout 76, and how there's 6 of them, and they all have this distinct feel and, you know, their own different, you know, animals and creatures and enemies and stuff inside of them. You got a dry place, there's a swamp. The forest is where you start off at, right there. That's by Vault 76 probably. It's in that category. It's in that section of the map. And for a map that is 16 times bigger than Fallout 4, they have to cram a lot of detail in it. So that's also where the engine buff came from, to where they made it stronger and more detailed. But also to where it still runs at a stable frame rate on your machine, whether it be console or computer. Probably the Wii U at some point, because everybody's making a game for the Wii U. But you can see, I mean, a lot of inspiration has been drawn, and I've never been to West Virginia, but my grandmother was from West Virginia, and a lot of this is pretty. She grew up in Morgantown, so a lot of this that's being told about this, how the lore in Fallout 76 is accurate and still canon, not lore breaking or anything. And the location there, I want to see how it just stacks up. What if anything she's told me about being a kid is in this game. She told me about that giant bridge with the arch in it. You saw it was over those houses a little while ago, probably about 30 seconds or so. Like that. I want to see how accurate that is around the landscape. And I could probably use Google for a lot. But I'm just curious to see how much of this is based on the whole state of West Virginia instead of a city, like Fallout 4 in Boston. They had to scrunch a whole state into this. So I'm curious to see how well they lived up to all their work. Being able to recreate it, but still have it small enough that you're not lost completely. Anyway, that was a doozy. But it's been the Wandering Channel, and thanks for watching.